Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
Good morning, first of all, to you, everyone here. This is the first session first public session of Berlinale Talents this year. It's very good to see this house crowded. Good morning to Carlo. Thank you very much for joining us on a busy morning, I guess.
I'm very happy to be here in such a nice theater, and with such a great audience.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah, you can give yourself an all.
It's still morning,
Yeah, we're waking up. 70th Berlinale, I think it's a celebration of those people, a celebration of audience, of course, of films as well, of cinema in general. And the person you are going to talk to and speak to in a minute is, of course, a master of this in all different senses. But before we invite him here to come onto stage, Carlo, probably you can invite him to come onto stage with your own words. What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. As you know, Talent is not a project in the festival, but it's really the center. We really trust you because you are the present, the future of not only of Berlinale, but of cinema. And you know, I always say that cinema are for connecting people. And I would say maybe something about that regarding our guests, but also connecting generation is very much important. And the way you look at films is important also for us. I mean, for me, maybe you are younger than me, another generation to receive feedback and be nourished by your thoughts. So be curious, don't hesitate to express your voice, because this is very important in a festival and in life. And as I said, Jia Zhang-Ke belong to my same generation. We are more or less the same age. We have more or less the same age. His films for me were a way to understand better a country very far away, but also a way to be connected with the people, normal people. His film make these normal people extraordinary because it goes into their heart. Yeah. And that's something very simple but very difficult to achieve. And the way he does, it's very extraordinary. But we are here also to listen from another angle his work, because you know, he's doing a film festival in a small town, Pingyao. Last October I was invited, so I was there, and it was no surprise to discover that he is also very good in connecting films with an audience. So I'm sure he will be super good in bridging his work as a filmmaker, his work as a festival director. He has a great project, I'm sure we will talk about that, to you guys, and let you be maybe desire and curious to go to Pingyao or to another film festival and take there your energy and your idea. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Jia Zhang-Ke. Please welcome him.
So that we can immediately get into the talk, I would also like to introduce you to the moderator, which is Peter Cowie, and our dear translator. Please come onto stage as well. And then we will leave the two or the three to start with the conversation with a thank you. Thank you, Peter. And we wish you a pleasant 1.5 hours with this wonderful gentleman.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, here in Berlin in 1988, Red Sorghum won the Golden Bear, and when Zhang Yimou went up on stage to accept the award, he said, by giving us this prize tonight, you have opened the way for young filmmakers in China to make better films. You were 18 at the time. Did you see the film? Could you see the film? Were you aware of the prize?
1988年啊，那个时候我18岁，红高粱是中国电影第一次在柏林国际电影节获得金熊奖。那个时候呢，正是中国进行改革开放的时候，刚刚开始改革开放10年，可以说它是中国改革开放10年的一个结果，因为在那个电影里面充满了一种自由的精神、叛逆的精神，就是旺盛的一种生命力。那这些东西 对于正在变革中的国家来说，吸引了观众的非常大的这种注意。然后那个时候可能柏林电影节之后，这个2、3月结束之后，这个电影在中国上映，几乎所有人都去看这部影片因为在那个时候，这个它不仅仅是一部电影，它是我们整个中国社会能够打破什么禁忌，能不能再往前走一步，扩大我们自由的一个标志。Sorry, so long.
I was only 18 years old in 1988 when Red Sorghum was given what was in fact the first Golden Bear for a Chinese film at the Berlinale. And that happened also to be only the 10th year of reform and opening up in China, which started in '78. And in a way, you can see it as one of the results of that process. And it's a film that was very much imbued with a spirit of freedom, rebelliousness, and vitality. And those elements in particular really served to attract a lot of filmgoers in China. They were very interested in it, and after the Berlinale finished, was it February or was it March that year, more or less everybody who could went to see it in China, because it wasn't just a film for us at that point. It was very important for us generally as a society that wanted to break a few more taboos and expand the freedom that we enjoyed.
因为在那部《红高粱》那部电影里面就是充满了个人的一种精神，个人的一种狂放的、自由的、没有约束、没有拘束的精神。这个今天说起来可能大家没什么感觉，但是如果你们知道，在这之前，中国长达10年的文化大革命，所有的人生活在集体里，被认为是这个集体的一部分，个人是不重要的，集体是重要的。在这样一个背景里面，突然有一部电影，它在张扬，在鼓励一种个人的自由，那种冲击，它已经不单是一部电影，它带给整个民族一种兴奋和狂放。
It wasn't just a film, it was an event for us, because the film really had a strong flavor of individual freedom. It was about individuals. It was about breaking free of your harnesses. And you might not realize it so much now when watching the film today, but back then, for people, especially who'd been through 10 years of the Cultural Revolution, where all traces of the individual were melted into a collective, the individual was not seen as important at all. This was a very new thing for people to be seeing on the screen. You suddenly had this film that was unafraid to advocate individualism, individual freedom, and that made it very exciting and inspiring for the whole people.
那我那个时候我18岁，也看了这部电影，可能还不止看了一遍。那我也被这种精神所感染，当然我也被影片中的女主角巩俐吸引，我觉得她太美了。
And I did see it once in 1988, and I was also inspired and infected by it. But at the same time, I also think that I thought that Gong Li, who was the female lead, was of course very pretty.
But 3 years later, you were studying to be an artist, and you saw Chen Kaige's first film, Yellow Earth, and that inspired you to take up filmmaking, I think.
就让您改变了自己的发展方向，成为一个电影人，是吧？
对。我自己是出生生长在中国内陆，就是山西，中国靠西北部的一个省份的一个很小的城市。那我从小喜欢看电影。特别是到了初中，我们开始有了录像厅。什么是录像厅呢？就是一台电视机，一个录像机，就是用那个 VHS 的录像带。那这些录像带大部分是走私进来的，主要是香港的武侠电影、黑帮电影。我从初中1年级看到高中3年级，大概6年时间一直在看这样的电影。但是这些电影都没有让我想做一个导演，我只是一个影迷。
Yes, and you have to remember that I grew up in a very small city in a northwestern province called Shanxi in China. I really grew up watching films, particularly once I got to secondary school. There was what we called an audio-visual room at this school, and that actually was just a room with a TV in it and a VHS video recorder, and we were able to watch films. Most of them were smuggled in from Hong Kong at the time, things like Hong Kong gangster flicks. So I was watching these for about 6 years, but they're not what inspired me to become a filmmaker.
对，那时候看了那么多的黑帮片，没有想当导演，想当黑社会了。
It's not exactly, gangster flicks that make you want to become part of organized crime when you grow up.
但我父亲我学习的不好，我父亲希望，但是我父亲是一个中学的语文老师，他希望我能上大学，然后他就说，那既然你考不上大学，你不如去学艺术，我就去学艺术去了。
I didn't get particularly good grades at school most of the time. Now, my father was a secondary school teacher himself. He taught language, Chinese, at school. And he really wanted me to go to university, but he saw that I wouldn't have much chance with grades like that. So he said, well, maybe then you can go and study art instead.
那么就是在学艺术的时候，很偶然我看到了1982年陈凯歌导演的《黄土地》，这部电影的摄影师也是张艺谋。那部电影82年就拍出来了，但是我到了90年代，我大概在1991年才看到。看到之后，我完全被打动，因为黄土地就是在中国的西部，我们的土地就很少有植物、有树木，很荒凉的黄色的土地。我的老家就在那个地方，我从来没有在电影里面看到过我自己的环境、土地、人进入到电影里面。我突然通过这个电影，突然发现电影的一种可能性。原来电影也可以拍我们自己的生活。
Now, that film was shot in 1982, and actually another Chinese director, Zhang Yimou, was director of photography on that film. But it was only in 1991 that I myself saw it for the first time, and I was mesmerized by that film. The film is called Yellow Earth, and it shows you an environment in Western China where plants really don't grow very much. There aren't many trees. It's yellow earth, not green. And there, for the first time, I saw possibilities. I saw something like my home region, which I hadn't seen on the screen before. I saw my land and my people, and it made me feel a sense of possibility.
And I think that, sorry.
就是我这个电影有非常多吸引我的地方，那其中这个电影有一个很独特，它没有什么故事，很简单的故事，一直在拍人怎么生活着，怎么存在着，然后它有大量的这个，比如说影片中这个父亲，他一个人在夜晚坐在很暗的灯底下在发呆，他没有语言，那种长时间的沉默，对我来说，我突然发现了一种诗歌一样的诗意。我觉得电影太好了，我是不是可以也成为一个电影工作者？
And another special thing about that film is it really doesn't have that much of a plot. The plot is very, very straightforward, if you can call it one. Most of what it's doing is showing you just the way people live, the existence that they have. I mean, you have things like men in the evening when it's dark, and they just sit there staring into space for ages, not saying much. And I really felt, for the first time, a sense of poetry on the screen.
One of the things which always strikes me about your films is that the silence between the dialogue, it's almost as important as the dialogue itself, in the way that in Antonioni or Angelopoulos you also have that. It's very, very eloquent.
对我自己之后拍的电影里面，人和人在交流的时候，也会有很多的沉默。这种很多的沉默，我觉得首先它来自于中国人的一种交流方法、语言的特点就是我们很多中国人非常含蓄，有很多在交流的时候有很多东西是需要相互去理解。 就有很多潜台词，那些沉默就是有潜台词的部分。我觉得对于拍摄电影来说，对于我是中国人，所以我觉得如何把真实的中国人的交流方法呈现出来，这一点非常重要。每一种语言它的特点都不一样，每一种地域的人在处理情感的时候，他的方法都不一样。所以我自己的电影一直在拍我的家乡，主要在拍我的家乡。那我都在拍他都在用方言，用我家乡的语言来拍摄。那相应来说，就是为了这个能够有一种情感的方法是来遵循。那我就是按山西人的情感方法来拍电影。在山西是一个生活非常艰难的地方，人们生活受到很大的压力。那沉默就代表了某种看不到尽头的黑暗。那种黑暗，但是每个人都能看到黑的地方有非常多的东西，沉默的地方有非常多的东西。
And so I do use a lot of silence in the films that I've made so far, and I think one reason for that is the way that people communicate in China. There's a lot of ambiguity, a lot that's left unsaid in the way people communicate in China. People need to read each other, and people need to hear what's there between the lines, and that silence is certainly a part of it. I myself am Chinese, and I wanted to give some of that to the audience on the screen, how people really talk. People communicate differently, different regions, different countries. There are differences, in particular in the ways that people express emotion from place to place. Now, I wanted, and indeed I have, mostly filmed my home region on the screen, and I tend to use dialect, the way people actually talk there. And I wanted to explore the way that people communicate emotion when they're from Shanxi province. Shanxi province in northwest China is a very tough environment. People have very difficult lives there. And there's a lot of silence in the way that they communicate, just like when they're looking into darkness, which sometimes seems endless. There's certainly a lot of darkness there and a lot of silence.
Well, we're going to have a clip from Still Life, and that's a film which not only won the Golden Lion in Venice, of course, 2007, I think, or 2006.
2006.
But it also shows the landscape in a very special way. Most of your films take place in Shanxi province, but this one, of course, they've traveled to where the Three Gorges Dam is being constructed. And even so, you are aware of the landscape, much more than you are in most Chinese films which are set in an urban environment. So we have a clip now from Still Life, which I've chosen to show the way that things are destroyed in order to make way for some huge project which will improve the lives of millions. But the problem is that tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people are deracinated as a result. So could we have the first clip, please? Even though that's a fiction film, Jia, there's a sense of it being a documentary also. And I think in your work, documentary and fiction go side by side, but sometimes they overlap too.
我也很久没有看这个电影的片段了。对，《山下好人》是这个背景是三峡工程嘛，因为那是中国要建立一个最大的一个水利的工程，那它会有100多万人移民，然后10几个有2、3千年历史的城市会被淹没，而我 拍这个电影的时候，并没这是一个即兴拍的电影。这之前我并没有想到要拍一个剧情片，我是为了拍一个纪录片，因为当时是有一个中国很著名的画家，叫刘晓东，他要去三峡画画，我在拍关于他的纪录片，就进入了这个三峡地区。我大概这个纪录片拍了有1周之后，我决定拍一个剧情片。那个时候没有任何的准备，我最难忘的是这个电影的剧本不是写出来的，是演出来的。怎么演呢？就是因为时间太紧迫了，如果我不马上拍，那些城市就都拆完了，就消失了。我们一直跟这个消失的城市在赛跑，所以我用了几天的时间。在我们住的这个酒店里面演，我第一场一艘船有很多人在表演，然后我们的同事副导演用电脑记录下来，我们就拿了10几张纸就开始拍这个电影。
Long time since I've seen that particular clip, actually. Still Life was a film about the Three Gorges Dam project, which was a massive hydroelectric power project in China, which involved about 1 million people being displaced from the homes that they've been used to, and the destruction of a dozen or so cities that had 2,000 to 3,000 years of history behind them. And I really see it as a film, a sort of memory film. I didn't plan to make it as a documentary. In fact, I had been making another documentary about the painter Liu Xiaodong. The documentary was called East, and as part of making that documentary, I ended up going with him to that area, and from there I got the idea to shoot another film, particularly in that area. So about a week after I finished the documentary East, I started work on this film, completely unprepared. And one interesting thing about it is that the script wasn't so much written in advance, it was just rehearsed in advance. Because we knew that we were under a lot of time pressure, the demolition was ongoing, and if we didn't get out there and shoot the film, there'd be nowhere left to shoot it in. These places would be gone, and so we just spent a few days just in a hotel, putting a script together, just going through what was going to happen, scenes. The first scene, there'd be a lot of things happening on a boat, and so on, with my crew, and then I had one of my deputy directors just writing it all down on a computer, and that's what we worked from, just a few sheets of paper.
那就是对拍这个电影来说，因为进入到三峡地区这个地方在拆房子，那它的背景是什么呢？是这个三峡地区因为有长江，然后两边的这个自然的环境山。还有它的云，在中国古代的文化里面是非常重要的，中国古代的视觉元素。我们有非常多的这个古代的绘画是关于这个地方的自然环境的。但是当你来了之后，你会发现在这样一个古代的一个，因为它这个山跟河流都没有变化。它跟唐代时候我们看到的是一样的，但是在这样一个古老的空间里面，人造的景观在改变，这些房子要拆掉了，那么这里面就有一种建筑跟自然的一种戏剧性。那我觉得对于我来说，这部电影它有2个角色，一个是空间，就整个三峡地区的空间，它是我想拍摄的去理解的一个人物。像人物一样，他是一个角色。另外就是我写的一男一女这2个人，所以在这里面，他就会有纪录片的方法来让这些人物在这些真实的空间里展开他们的故事，那同时拍到空间的故事跟人物的故事。
And you have to remember that the demolitions were ongoing at the time that we were making the film. However, the area in which it takes place is part of the Yangtze River in China, and it's a very well-known area, in particular for its landscape and for its clouds, which are a frequent element in a lot of classical Chinese paintings, particularly of this area. And you could look at a lot of the scenery and the mountains and so on, and it would be basically the same as the way people had painted it in the Tang dynasty. On the other hand, you have the ancient on the one hand, and you had the artificial on the other hand, because buildings were being knocked down. So traces of human intervention were being knocked down. So there was kind of a dramatic tension between nature and buildings. And if I look at what the protagonists of this film are, actually, there are two types. One is that space. That's one of the protagonists of the films. It's like a character in its own right. And the other type of protagonist are the male and female lead whose story takes place in this environment. So I used a quasi-documentary approach to shoot the story that takes place between the male and female lead in this area, but at the same time it's a story of that physical space.
Now, from the very beginning, I believe you assembled a team of collaborators. And, for example, you've worked with Yu Lik-wai, your cameraman, for many, many films. And your wife appears in many of your films. Going back to your very first short film, can you remember how you assembled your friends or your collaborators to do that?
对，我是刚才我们讲到，在91年看到黄土地，那时候就想当导演，但是当时呢，这不知道怎么能够成为电影工作者，因为当时中国的电影是有16个国家的电影制片厂，他们都在大的城市，就对于一个年轻人来说，我们真的不知道怎么能变成一个导演。那后来就有人说，有一个大学叫北京电影学院。你如果能考到那个学院，你就有可能成为一个电影工作者。这样的话，我到1993年考到了北京电影学院，我学习的是电影理论专业。那我想当导演，为什么要考电影理论专业呢？因为好考，对。
Well, in 1991, as I mentioned, I saw the film Yellow Earth by Chen Kai-ge for the first time, and that made me decide that I wanted to be a director. I just didn't know how to go about doing it. You have to remember that at the time, the film industry in China consisted of 16 state-owned film studios, and they were all in large cities. Not much use for a person like me, where I was. But then somebody told me that there was this institute called Beijing Film Academy, and if you could get in as a student, then that would open a lot of doors for you. And I ended up getting in 1993, and my subject was film theory. Now, if you ask why somebody like me wanted to be a director applied to film theory, very simple, it was the easiest one to get in.
然后进入这个大学之后呢，也不知道怎么能够拍片，然后有一天我就看到了一本书，这本书是中文的书，但是它是介绍法斯宾德导演拍摄这个《爱比死亡更冷酷》这部电影的一个如何做预算的一本书，就是做那个 budget 的一本书。那个书的名字叫做这个如何做独立电影。这是我第一次看到 independent film 这个词。然后这个词是什么意思，其实也不知道，但是我觉得哇，可以独立的去做。然后我们就正好，我们北京电影学院那一年，我这个年级是每个专业都有学生，我们10几个同学就组成了一个小的团队，我们叫做北京电影学院独立电影小组。然后我们的老师说：“哦 ，no， 你们不能叫独立电影，你们要独立吗？”那我们说，那我们可以叫实验电影吗？说可以，所以我们就改名为北京电影学院实验电影小组。我们在那个小组里面，我们有摄影师、有录音师、有美术师，那我们在内部有笔稿，大家写了短片的剧本，来讨论要拍谁的。我很幸运，我的第一个短片的剧本叫《小山回家》，小山 Going Home， 大家说啊，这个不错。那我们在1995年就拍了这部短片。
But as I came to the end of my studies, I still didn't know how you went about making a film. And the breakthrough for me was reading a book in Chinese, which was about how Rainer Werner Fassbinder went about budgeting for a film production, about love and death. Which one was that? Anyway, it was, the point of it was that I'd never seen the concept of independent cinema I mentioned before, and that was part of its title, How to Make an Independent Film. So that really brought home to me that such a concept existed, indie film, but I still didn't know how to go about doing it. Luckily at the time, in my year at Beijing Film Academy, there was a group of students who wanted to set up something called the BFA Independent Cinema Group. So we asked to set this thing up, and then the faculty said, no, you can't do that, and we don't want any talk of independence around here. No, so we said, well, can we set up an experimental cinema group? And they said that was okay. So we set that up, and we had people who'd studied photography, sound design, artistic design, and so on in the group. I was there too, and we went through various scripts, and very fortunately, the first script that I circulated within the group, which was called Xiaoshan Goes Home, they liked it, and so we ended up making it.
Now, the second clip we've got is from one of your hardest-hitting films, A Touch of Sin. And you've been quoted as saying that people used to commit violence in the name of communism, and now they commit it in the name of capitalism or making money. And this film is a very powerful indictment of the nouveau riche in China and how that can overwhelm friendships and relationships as well. So perhaps we can see the clip, and then you'd like to talk about that afterwards. Can we have the second clip, please?
，这个是我2013年的作品，天注定，英文的名字叫《A Touch of Sin》。就是在2013年前后，我们那个时候也正好是中国就是自媒体开始这个流行，就是在中国就像 Twitter 一样，中国叫微博。那因为有了自媒体，所以就是你会发现有很多发生在中国各个地方的突发的这些事件被报道出来。过去我们在主流的媒体里并不能看到这样的一些事件。那我关注到就是开始密切的、频繁的，就是发生这种剧烈的暴力的事件，这个让我很震动。就它的密度很频繁，隔几天就会在中国某一个地方就会出现这样的事情。它让我就是第一次关注到暴力的问题，而且在这里面你会发现，它跟整个中国经济的变革背后重新人和人之间的关系之间发生了非常多的矛盾，利益的矛盾、经济的纠纷。价值观的这种不一致，但最主要的是，当整个社会出现巨大的贫富差异、地区差异的时候，普通的人并没有一个发表自己，就是没有一个渠道来表达自己，那么暴力就变成了一种表达的方法。所以这个电影里面都是一个普通的人怎么样最后变成暴力的受害者，同时也变成一个暴力的实施者这样的一个故事。
So that was from my 2013 film, known in English as A Touch of Sin. And 2013 was round about the time in China when social media were beginning to take off. You may have heard of a couple of social media platforms similar to Twitter. One is called WeChat, the other is called Weibo in China. And because of the advent of those platforms, it was the first time that I realized how much violence was out there, all these violent incidents that were going on an almost daily basis in various parts of the country. These used to be completely absent from the pages of mainstream media in our country. But I was shocked to find out just how frequent this kind of incident was. Every couple of days, there'd be a new report. And that's how I realized that this kind of violence was a real issue in China. And the backdrop was the changes to China's economy and what they'd done to interpersonal relations, the kind of conflict that they'd created between different people's interests economically and also their values. And well, in particular, the main problem was the enormous regional disparities and also disparities of wealth. People didn't have a channel to speak up, and so very often they would resort to violence. And in the film, I explore how very ordinary people can become both the victims but also the perpetrators of violence.
我想多说一下这部电影，就是
I'd just like to say another couple of words.
这个电影的英文的名字《A Touch of Sin》，它是来自于胡金铨导演的1972年的一部电影，叫做《A Touch of Zen》，是吧？Zen。为什么会改一个词，把 Zen 变成 Sin？ 因为我在这个电影中有4个故事，4个故事都是真实的事件改编的。这些真实的事件，我在研究这些故事的时候，我发现它跟胡金铨电影中的关于中国古代的武侠小说的那个故事非常的像。那我一下子让我觉得暴力的问题、社会不公正的问题从古代就有。那我觉得这个电影，它这个人物，他们虽然是生活在一个网络的时代，生活在一个高铁的时代，但实际上这个背后这个暴力的问题，它是跟古代就有的。所以意识到这一点之后，这个电影借用了很多武侠片的方法，这也是我第一次借用类型电影，借用武侠片的方法来制作一部电影，来反映中国社会的现实。
Just a couple of words on why it's called what it's called in English. A Touch of Sin is a direct throwback to a 1972 film by King Hu, A Touch of Zen, which was a film that might be called Kung Fu, or more technically, wuxia in Chinese. And the film that I'm talking about here, A Touch of Sin, comprises 4 stories, each of which are based on a real-life incident, which I thoroughly researched in the process of writing of deciding what the plot would be. And during that research, I realized that there was a lot of similarity to some of the kung fu stories that people used to shoot about and write about, and it really brought home to me that in ancient China, and a lot of kung fu or wuxia films are based on various things that happened in ancient China, violence and iniquity were also very commonplace. So 2013, you have the internet, you have high-speed trains and so on, you have the trappings of a modern society, but at the same time they're still wrestling with the same problems as in yesteryear. And I used a lot of approaches that are common in the wuxia genre, and it was actually my first foray into a genre film.
那这个电影呢，是里面有4个人物，有4个独立的故事。对我来说，为什么会在一部电影中有4个人物、4个他们之间就基本没有什么关系？是因为我发现每一个单独的故事都可以变成一部电影，但是我需要拍3个或者4个，因为当我们进入到自媒体时代的时候，我们会发现，就是这种暴力问题存在于这个社会，它的频繁，它的密度很高，它不是很长时间发生一个，它是不停的在发生。那我觉得这是一种社会的气氛，我需要用多个暴力故事来呈现在那个时候中国社会那种密集的这个暴力问题那它变成这个电影的结构的来源。
And one more thing on the structure of the film. It comprises 4 stories which are basically all freestanding stories. There's no plot link between them. Why did I choose a structure like that? Well, you could take any one of those stories and it might be worthy of a film in its own right, but in an era like the one in which I made this film, a social media era, what I was really struck by was the sheer frequency, the intensity of these violent incidents around the country. They weren't an occasional thing. It was much more about an overall social atmosphere, and so I wanted to have more than one story, 3 or 4 stories, in the same film in order to give a sense of the commonplace nature of these violent incidents.
Can we move to another facet of your multi-talented career, which is that you started a film festival in Pingyao, a city of less than 50,000 inhabitants. Very few film festivals are started by practicing filmmakers. It must be almost unique in the world. How did you get this off the ground, and what were the aims behind it?
其实这个办一个电影节，它有很复杂的原因。首先一个原因呢，是我大概从10几年前吧，除了做导演之外，我也开始做制片人，然后每年大概能够跟2到3个中国年轻的导演合作。因为我觉得可能我可以某种程度上能帮助到一些人吧。但是时间长了之后，你会发现个人的力量非常少。中国想拍电影的有才华的年轻人又越来越多。每个个人都是有局限性的。那个时候我觉得平台很重要，我们应该创办一个平台，能够帮助到更多的年轻人。这是其中的一个原因。
Well, yeah, there were a multitude of reasons for my wanting to set up this film festival, the Pingyao International Film Festival. Firstly, for more than 10 years now, I've not only been working as a director, but also I've been active as a producer. That's meant that every year I've worked with 2 to 3 young filmmakers, say, and I do feel that I can help them along to some extent, but as the process went on, I realized just how limited the capacity of an individual is to move forward in filmmaking, and I felt the need to find a way to help more people because their individual abilities are limited. So I felt the need to set up a platform to help them.
那另一个原因呢，就是大家可能也都知道，中国现在网络视频网站，包括电影院都很发达。其实各种各样的电影在视频网站都有，但是在这种海量的信息里面，但是人们比较关注到的还都是商业电影、好莱坞的电影。比如说来自于南美的、东欧的、亚洲其他地区的、非洲的电影，会被观众因为观众没有办法去了解，会被忽视。那就是即使这些电影在网站上有，观众也不会去点击。那这个时候我就觉得应该有一个电影展，用一种策展的方法来给中国观众介绍更多元的电影文化。对。
Secondly, there's now a proliferation of video-on-demand sites in China, and the Chinese cinema sector is also doing very well. So there's a lot of quantity out there. In particular, you can access all different kinds of films on video-on-demand websites. But in the middle of this information overload, people are still mostly interested in Hollywood-style commercial films. People don't know very much about other cinemas, those from, say, South America, Europe, or Africa, so they tend to ignore them, or at least not click on films like that and watch them. So I felt the need to offer people a kind of curation that would bring them closer to a more diverse selection of films.
对，那还有一个就是中国在去年拍了1006部电影。其中大部分都是年轻导演的，有这么多的年轻导演在拍作品，他也需要一个电影展来把他们的工作介绍给国外，介绍给世界。这样的话，我们就在这个背景里面创办了平遥电影展，它主要是关注 这个年轻导演的一个影展。
Furthermore, in 2019, I think there were 1,006 films made in China. Most of those were made by young directors, and so I continue to feel the need for a film festival that will allow them to show their films to a wider and to an international audience.
And related to this is another aspect of your activity, which is that you help young filmmakers by co-producing or being involved in the production, and even in Memoria, the Thailandese film that's been getting ready at the moment, you're involved. Can you retain your role as a director while still being distracted by all of these wonderful things you're doing for other people?
我们主要依靠团队，就是我有很好的合作了很多年的这个同事，我们是一个就非常默契、效率很高的一个团队。那对于我来说，就是到现在还每年跟两三个年轻导演合作。今年我们在柏林的 From 有一部影片是女导演宋芳，她的第2部影片叫做《平静 Claim》。那我很享受跟这年轻导演的工作，因为你总能分享到最新的他们对于这个世界的感知和对于电影语言的新的一种发现。但是在这个但是他们需要有一些资源的帮助，那我很乐意去配合他们来做一些资源的整合。然后一起来克服一些困难，让这样的一些影片能够存在，能够拍出来。因为这个有很多影片，它越是有实验性的影片，越需要突破商业的局限，商业的限制跟审查的限制。那这时候我愿意跟年轻导演站在一起吧。
It is a team effort, and I do have the fortune to have a very good team with me, many of whom I've been working with for a long time, and we really just get each other. So we work together very well. Every year I'm able to work directly with 2 to 3 young filmmakers, and in fact, for those of you who have the chance, in the Berlinale Forum this year, there's one of those, a young Chinese female director called Song Fang, who has a film here in the Berlinale called The Calming. And I'm very eager to work with young filmmakers because they're able to share a lot of new insights of theirs, and also they are very innovative in terms of the way they make films. They're at the cutting edge of cinema, but they do need backing. They need various kinds of resources, and that's what I can try and help them access, and make it a bit less difficult for them to actually get the film made. In particular, when the film is more experimental, they have more difficulties in commercial and also in film censorship terms.
Well, our final clip is from Mountains May Depart, which was made 5 years ago. And in a way, it continues the themes of A Touch of Sin, the conflict between materialism and simple everyday life. And the clip we're going to see shows a woman who is conflicted between two young sweethearts, if you like, who have been courting her, and one is desperate to become very successful in life and so on, and the other is much more timid and much more modest. And I think this does relate to the feelings that run through many of your films. For me, it's a film about feelings. So perhaps we can have the last clip, and then we'll let you talk about it.
这个电影是2015年的作品，那一年我45岁，其实确实站在一个中年的一个角度，你会发现获取了一些，已经开始有一些人生的经验，所以这是一个这个作品它是从1999年一直拍到未来2035年，2035年也2025年也马上就要到了，就从过去一直拍到了未来。
Oh, that's a film called Mountains Made Apart that I shot in 2015 at the age of 45. So, yeah, I started realizing that I'm now middle-aged and I understand a few more things about the world. The time span that it covers is from 1999, roughly, to the future, to 2025. Of course, we're nearly there now, but it was the future.
那从这部影片开始，一直到拍完山河故人，又拍了江湖儿女，这2部影片都是拥有很长的时间。因为我突然觉得我很有需要讲在一个比较长的时间过程里面，人们会经历什么，情感会经历什么。它不是一个时间点的故事，它是随着人的衰老，随着人的成长，随着时间的改变。10年、20年、30年，它会带给人什么样的一种改变？我需要获得这样的一个试点，用比较长的时间来观察人，所以这连续2部影片都是比较长的时间的跨度。
In fact, the last 2 feature-length films that I've worked on, Mountains Made Apart and the one after that, Ash is Purest White, have covered a long time span. Because I started trying not to concentrate on one time point, but to look at how people develop and change over the years as the world changes with them. So I've been looking at how they develop, how they change over 20, even 30 years.
因为我一直非常关注中国社会的变革。那我们在比如说《山下好人》，我们有很清晰的就是外在的变革的痕迹，比如说3000年的城市就那样拆除了，大坝建起来了，比如说从没有电话到用成手机，有很多外在的改变，但是内在就情感世界的改变是什么？它相对是隐秘的。那么《山河故人》，我就想回到人的情感。就是有一些就是有一些生命的内容是不会改变的，比如说爱情，任何时代都存在。比如说家庭跟父亲的关系，跟下一代跟孩子的关系，出生、衰老、得病、死亡，这些任何一个时代都存在。那么我想用在《山河故人》里面，在一个快速变革的社会里去看这些恒定不变的人必要的一些必须经历的一些生命过程会发生什么？那就把它放在长达20年、30年的时间里面去拍摄，因为我觉得电影它有一种系统性的能力，它不仅仅可以讲述好一个时间点一个故事，它也可以整合成一个漫长的一种史诗性的故事结构，来把一个时代的生存经验尝试的表达出来。
Actually, going back to still life in particular, I've been paying a lot of attention to social changes in my cinema. In still life, you have a lot of things being destroyed that are 2,000, 3,000 years old. And these people are in a very, very fast changing place. They've gone from an age when you didn't have electricity in the home to one where everybody has smartphones. But there are some things, particularly internal, emotional things, which do not and will not change. And I've been trying to explore how those work out. Some things do change And some things really are fated to always be there, to be constants, like love, for example, or relationships with your father, or relationships with your children, birth, getting old, illness, death. These are all much more universal things. And in Mountains May Depart, I specifically try to look at how this works out in a very fast-changing society, the sort of constant challenges, constant elements that people have to deal with. And I use a time span of 20 to 30 years because that's one of the things that cinema can do in structural terms. You can choose to concentrate on one point in time, or you can choose to have a very long time span, but you can have a genuine story with its own logic playing out.
Jia, we have a few minutes now for the audience to ask questions. Do you mind? Is that fine for you? So how it works, for those of you here for the first time, we have festival attendants on either side with microphones. So hold up your hand if you want to ask a question. And if you're chosen, I will then you wait for the microphone so that you will be recorded for posterity. Someone right here in the front. Okay.
科长你好，不好意思，科长你好，就你今天刚刚说到，你了解电影是因为想从业电影是因为黄土地。其实我想从业电影也是因为在很多年前看了一篇您写的文章，是讲业余电影的时代即将到来。然后这篇文章让我觉得我也可以成为一个电影工作者，我也能用电影来好好讲述这样一个故事。然后，而且我现在正在往这方面努力。现在我在伦敦读电影专业的硕士。然后我其实非常感谢您，就是给我一个这样的契机。然后今天来其实准备了一个小礼物。
Can we translate the question first?
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Jia. You talked about how the film Yellow Earth by Zhang-Ke inspired you to become a filmmaker. I was inspired by something you wrote, an essay from quite some years ago, that argued that the era of the amateur filmmaker is about to arrive. And that really showed me that I could become a filmmaker, that I could go out there and tell my stories, and that's something that I'm trying to make happen. I'm currently an MA student in cinema in London. I'd just like to say thank you very much for inspiring me, and I've actually got a little gift for you.
这其实我非常喜欢曹涛老师，于是画了一个你们两个的肖像。
So I drew these, and one is you and one is your spouse, Jiao Tao.
对，然后其实我还有一个小问题。
Do we have another
I do
question?
have a question.
Yes.
Have another question? Somewhere at the back?
其他有没有
Anyone at the back?
想提问的
Yes, yes, the gentleman there.
这位先生。
Right in the middle, yeah. No, further up, the third. Keep your hand up, that's right. That's right.
Hi, so I was very struck by the blocking in the scene from Mountains Made Apart that we just saw, and I wanted to ask you where exactly the blocking comes together for you. Do you experiment, or do you have a very precise idea about how you want the scene to play out? Or where does it happen for you? When do you know how the scene will look? You know, from paper to image, basically.
谢谢你的问题。其实我长期以来跟两种演员合作，一种是很长时间就是会跟非职业的演员合作，那也有时候会跟职业演员合作。那么这个对于处理不同的演员，我的摄影机的运动方法跟这个演员的这个位置的方法都会不太一样。因为刚才那个片段，那个女主角跟男主角他们都演了很多电影，他们是很有经验的演员，所以他整个位置我们都有跟摄影机有很密切的配合，然后有很准确的走位。但是如果我是跟非职业演员合作的时候，我会给非职业演员以放松的这个就是 我不要求这么精确，他们可以很自由的活动，那就需要我们的摄影师跟焦点员有一种即兴的捕捉能力。因为如果对于没有经过训练的演员，你给他太多的未知的要求的话，会影响他自己的一种表演的发挥。
Thank you very much for that question. I work with two types of actors. One is amateur actors, non-professional, and the other is professional actors. And the ways in which I prepare and the ways in which I do blocking differ according to the type of actors they are. The film that you just saw, the clip from Mountains May Depart, these two actors in particular are professionals, so they've got a lot of experience here and they are very good at following precise instructions from the crew in terms of blocking. On the other hand, I also work with a lot of amateur actors, and there I take a much more relaxed approach. I don't give them so much information as to what to do, where to stand, and so on. I allow them to move around a lot more freely, and of course that means that my director of photography and camera team have to do quite a lot of very detailed work, because we can't do it any other way. If you give actors like that too many detailed instructions, it puts too much pressure on them.
对，那我自己就是这个电影结合了一些长镜头的方法。那我一般会调度的时候，会让通过演员的转身或者这个演员他们形体的位置的变化来变化这个视觉的中心。比如说刚才那个片段，这个跟着女主角走，这时候这时候我们看到是两个人的背影，停下来之后。两个人站立之后，男主角转身，这时候我们视觉中心在男主角这儿，然后跟着他们情绪的变化，女主角又转身给摄影机，那就是又把视觉的中心给了女主角，就是这种内在的这种变化，内在的这种变化一般都是在现场，根据现场的空间的情况，还有根据剧本里面人物关系来做这种调度的确定。
And in particular, when I film from further off, I hinge a lot of it on when and where they turn, and I often change the angle at that time. So, for example, in the clip that you've just seen, you have basically, for a while, the camera follows the female lead, so you see the man and the woman's backs as it travels with them, and then when they stop, the male lead turns, and that brings the center of focus onto him, and he talks for a while, and then as various things happen emotionally for these two characters, the woman then turns around, and so you have a change of angle at that point, so it's focusing on the woman. And this is very much a function of what's going on inside their heads at the time. So overall, I tend to decide that kind of thing, both in terms of the script and the relationships that it sets out between the characters and the physical space that we're working with at that time.
我自己不会有预先的分镜头或者调度的方案。我每拍一个场面或者每拍一场戏的时候，我都是在现场分镜头。我是非常依赖现场的空间的，无论是在摄影棚拍摄还是在实景拍摄，我需要站在那个拍摄现场去感受这个空间它给我的启发，然后这个结合这个空间给我的一种印象，再结合我的剧本来进行现场的这种场面的处理。调度的处理、分镜头的处理，所以我也不会提前画分镜头脚本，也不会提前写分镜头脚本，都是在现场来做决定就是这种决定灵感往往是空间给我的。
I'd just like to emphasize that that's not something that I pre-plan. I don't pre-plan exactly what camera angles to use when. It's very much a function of what happens on site. And I decide it on the hoof, so to speak. Whether it's being shot in a studio or whether it's on location, I decide that kind of thing on the hoof. basically in line with the sort of impression that the physical space gives me, and also on the basis of the script, but I don't plan it all out in advance.
We have time for one more question. Yeah, but I think someone up there should have a chance. Someone up in the center of the balcony. You're always forgotten up there.
科长您好，然后又是我前天参加了您的那个首映，然后我的问题是，就是我们观察到，就是中国之前的每一代导演，就是从第五代导演、第6代导演，以您为代表的第6代导演，然后呢，就是都有一个非常独特的电影风格。然后那在您看来，中国接下来第7代电影导演，他们的电影风格会是怎样？是以独立电影为代表，是以商业电影为代表？然后我的教授就告诉我说，其实中国已经不会再存在第7代电影导演了。那在您看来，这第7代电影导演还会存在吗？然后还有一个小小的私心的问题，就是作为就是在国外留学的留学生，就是来学习电影，那您认为就是我们在就是有什么样的平台能够参与到中国的电影市场，参与到中国的电影制作中呢？谢谢您。
好，谢谢。
Thank you very much. I had the honor of being at your premiere 2 days ago, and generally each generation of Chinese filmmakers are marked by a particular style. The 5th generation have a typical style, the 6th generation, of which you are part, have a typical style. The issue is still open when it comes to the 7th generation. Will their style be dominated by indie filmmakers or more commercial ones? In fact, some academics have said that there will be no such thing as a 7th generation in China. What do you think of that? A more specific question too, for many of us who are studying cinema abroad, are there any particular platforms or channels that we can use to make it easier to get into the Chinese film market with our work?
其实你要去了解这些中国电影，到目前为止分了6代。这个所谓每一代背后，为什么它会划分成第1代、第2代、第3代？每一代记的划分的背后，都是非常让人沉重的一些共同的记忆。比如说第5代的共同的记忆，就是在成长的时候是文化大革命。我被划分到第6代，我们共同的记忆就是社会的变革，就是改革开放。那么之前的还有经历过战争的，经历过各种各样事件的，因为我们中国社会一直背后社会是有这样大的一个变动，影响到每个人，所以就是它呈现出了一种电影呈现出了美学上的某一种一致性。那实际上对我来说，我希望我们能够到达一个真正个人化的时代。我们的社会不要再有这么大的变动，不要再有这么刻骨铭心的公共的这样的一些大的外在的变动影响到个人。我个人非常希望没有第7代，因为呢预示着我们进入到一个真正自由的个人化的时代。
Thanks very much for the question. You have to look at why they're referred to as 6th generation and so on, and what demarcates each generation of filmmakers. It's basically some very profound and collective historical memories that the entire generation of people have from that period. For example, the 5th generation of filmmakers have all undergone the Cultural Revolution in their youth. The 6th generation are the product of another upheaval, the Reform and Opening Up period, and previous generations have similarly been marked by specific periods, wars, and so on. And these are all, major social changes which have affected absolutely everyone and have led to certain commonalities in their cinematic work. I would very much like there not to be a 7th generation, because I would like it to be an era of true individual filmmaking where people are not all sculpted by the same huge historical brush. I think that there shouldn't be a 7th generation, and we should talk about individuals.
Well, that's very, very positive note. Thank you, Jia, for coming. Thank you for spending so much time sharing your wisdom so lucidly with us. We're very, very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much too.
我也最后感谢Talent Campus，这是我 第二次来到卡兰坎普是第一次是10几年前，那我很感谢有这样的机会跟大家来见面，谢谢大家。
Thank you very much also to Berlinale Talents finally for this second invitation. The first time for me at Berlinale Talents was more than 10 years ago, so thank you very much for having me back.